You've tuned into the Bellingham podcast for the week of August 1st, 2021. This is episode 196.
4 away.
From that Getting Closer City by the Salish Sea, I am AJ Barsay.
And straight out of 92.26, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, AJ and I are continuing the continuance of the mini series we're doing. Last episode, we talked about getting out of town of Bellingham into what's going on in Whatcom County. We got some more towns that are around, bordering nearby Bellingham. Stuff to do, places to go, people to see, and things to listen to, especially the Bellingham podcast.
Ooh, that was real slick. How you doing, Chris?
Like oil. I'm doing great. Thanks, AJ. We are actually continuing the recording. We just wanted to bust it up into 2 parts. I'm doing just as great as I was in the previous episode a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but everybody else, it's been a week. For us, it's been like 15 minutes.
Oh, well, in that case, gosh, what a week it's been. Holy smokes. Did I tell you about this one? No, anyway.
Yeah. So we're picking up right where we left off in the last episode, 15 minutes ago. But this is our Whatcom Wanderings, where we're going to, basically, you're starting here at the city by the Salish Sea, but we're looking at the huge landmass that this city is part of, which is Whatcom County.
And let's revisit that scenario that we've said for all of the episodes in this mini-series about welcome back to Bellingham or what to do to get out. You're in town on business or attending a conference or are visiting family and friends. You've heard lots of good things about the city by the Salish Sea, but now you want to see what Whatcom has to offer. Now what? So
what, Chris?
So what, indeed. We've already talked about Blaine and Semiahmoo and Birch Bay. Let's go a little bit east, if you will. East 542 state route, if you will, into the town that Wile E Coyote approves called Acme.
So on 542, which is also known as the Mount Baker Highway, there's an offshoot, and I can't think of what that crossroad is. Acme, no, you heard me right. Acme as in the anvils, as in Wile E Coyote chasing Roadrunner. There is a town called Acme. It's near Van Zant, not to be confused with the band Van Zant.
Not at all.
But Acme, this is a place where for locals, when it's this heat that we've been in, there is a river that runs, bisects this area.
A river runs through it, perhaps?
A river runs through it, called the Nooksack. Okay, again, another indigenous name to the Nooksack tribe of this area. And so the Nooksack River, Acme in this area, you'll find a lot of locals that will set in tubes, and you will tube from Acme down to a landing spot, and I can't think of where it is. But that's if you're the adventurous type and you love tubing, and you have a friend that's going to pick you up on the end of this
at that spot,
you can tube the Nooksack, and you'll start from Acme area. There's also, you might be hungry. And so there's a diner out there that is to die for. You'll also notice that there's also Acme ice cream. I'm throwing this all out because if you're a Looney Tunes fan, okay, there's a lot of Acme out there.
I'm envisioning the big old explosive press push button
TNT.
Press, the
that
TNT
would be great
thing.
if they had that out there.
Well, the Acme ice cream is also in many supermarkets and ice creameries around Bellingham and Fairhaven as well. But anyway, continuing on. So
in that same area of Acme, you'll also find out that there is the Lake Whatcom Railway. So the Lake Whatcom Railway is a society where they have old steam engines, trains, and you can actually for COVID they've been shut down from what I understand. And it looks like, because they have a team of volunteers that are going out to the railway, because they actually own this section of railway out in this area. And what's cool is there's a team of volunteers that are going out there. I've got a link in the show notes.
And for the love of all steam and engines, and for the love of Doc Brown, who turned a Mr. Fusion into a big old train engine, drink!
There's a link to Facebook, because that's where they do a lot of their connecting. Facebook.com/Lake Whatcom Railway. And you can actually see videos from these volunteer crews that are going out and clearing these old railways so that these old steam engines can do their tours. Hopefully, I'm guessing in the October and December timeframe, where you do the pumpkin patch tour or the Santa Claus on a train tour. What's cool, Chris, I took my little one on this.
Yes.
When he was just, very, very little. And the story that I remember is the train and the car that we were on. This train car was built the same year of the Titanic, and unfortunately the Titanic sank. But this train car, is that from that same era, which means it's pretty rough around the edges, folks. Like in even the winter, it can be pretty drafty and cold because this is that era of train travel.
So layer up is what.
Layer up, depending on season, But it's a really cool experience, and it's novel, and it's relatively affordable. So take a look at those two if you're in the Acme area.
And in the Acme area, which is off of Mount Baker Highway, well, what if you just kept on going? So up on Mount Baker, that's going to be the end of the road.
That's the end of the road, Chris.
Exactly. What's up on Mount Baker, Captain Get Out?
So, this is Captain Get Out approved. So Mount Baker, I'm throwing this out there for all the plethora of people who hit me up about trekking, especially if you're new to the area and you've heard about Mount Baker or Comacultion. Again, that's the indigenous name that you'll find Mount Baker's original name. And so when you go on 542, the very end is Artist Point. That's where you can get out, and there's some treks around the area. However, I'm going to give you insider secrets, okay? Especially if you have family or little ones and you want to get them out, because this is Captain Get Out approved. Here's the ones in order of friendliness to mountain goatiness, as Chris Powell might throw out.
It's a hike.
It's a hike. So when you head out towards Mount Baker and you're heading towards Artist Point, before you get to Artist Point, on the right-hand side, and by the way, like this Artist Point is the furthest that you can go. At the time of this recording, it's still snowed in, folks. So you can't even get up to Artist Point unless you're going to intend on snowshoeing. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind. There's still snow on the mountains. So Bagley Lake is one of the last turn that you will get before you take the road up to Artist Point. And Bagley Lake is super kiddo and family friendly. How kiddo friendly? If you have a kiddo that can do at least a mile or so in a loop, and they're adventurous and they have the stamina for it. Bagley Lake, my kid has been doing since he was 3. This is a really nice, easy lake loop. But it is still adventurous. I mean, if you have bad knees, you may want to check on this. This is a trail hike, but it's super easy and accessible. The other one is Chain Lakes, which goes from Bagley Lake, and there are other lakes that adjoin it. And that's the longer loop. This is what I call your big kid adventure. I can't remember how many miles off the top of my head, but if you have a bigger kid and you want to do a family-friendly loop in that same area, Chain Lakes is where it's going to be. And then I'm going to throw out Table Mountain, and I mentioned this one a few episodes back. Table Mountain is up at the top where Artist Point is, and it's a flat top mountain, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind or whatever that film was. It's a table-topped mountain. It's a square mountain. And this is one that I will throw out, may not be good for some kids of the toddling era, or for people who are afraid of heights. When we were up there, my kiddo and I, he was 4. And, again, I have a baby mountain coat in training. So we were going up Table and taking every safety precaution every hiker would with a little. But there were, college students who, there is no guardrails. You're going up a mountain and you're exposed. Like, you see down a mountain. So if you are timid about heights, Table Mountain's not going to be for you. My little one actually went up to this young lady who was just mortified, and her boyfriend was trying to help her get back down off the mountain. And my kid was super trying to, like, it's okay, you can do it. He's being real encouraging.
That's really cool to hear.
Yeah. So, like, I just want to throw that out because, like, if you are squeamish of heights, Table Mountain might not be for you, but it's a great hike. And you get quite a bit of elevation to take a look at our North Cascades. And then last but not least is Twin Lakes, which is also the base of Winchester Mountain, one of my favorites. And that's what I call your beginner mountain goating. I think the summit where there is a fire watch tower, and you can read the Analog Explorer about some of the history of that fire watch tower up there. This is where I think the summit's like 6,200 feet. So you get quite a bit of elevation up there, but that's your beginning hike,
yes,
as Chris might say. So that's my roundup of Mount Baker area for those that are in the area that want to do some trekking.
Question for you, AJ, since I don't know much about Mount Baker. Do they have cell phone reception up at the top of Mount Baker?
Well, there's some now.
They have wireless?
Yeah, you can get some wireless.
Well, there's no excuse for them to not be listening to us on 102.3 FM KMRE then.
Yeah, you might be listening on KMRE.org. Now, bear in mind, it ain't going to be no LTE LTE or 5G or 8G or 25G, but
OG, it's really high.
OG, it might be a little slow, but yeah, you can get some service up there.
Or else just download it from your podcast app of choice and get up there and listen to us. It would be nice to hear ourselves at 6,200 feet. I wonder what that would sound like. A whole lot of echo. All right, moving on. Let's go elsewhere in this Whatcom County.
Right. So dovetailing into Mount Baker. So again, our show is really focused on the I-5, right? Chris, you and I have hit the stops on I-5 over the years and stuff. But with Whatcom Wandering this episode, we're really stretching out where Whatcom goes. So for folks if you're looking at a map, and again, Chris and I are not cartographers, but if we were,
we do it a heck of a lot better.
So if you look at Whatcom County, you're looking at Point Roberts, which is the small part of America that actually it's kind of part of Canada, but it's in American.
It's really confusing even for us Americans.
Exactly. You have to go through the border twice. It goes from Point Roberts all the way over to the Okanagan. That is, for folks that are not part of this area, Mount Baker is literally the middle of Whatcom County. You have the North Cascade, which will get you into Ross Lake, Diablo, Newhalem. We'll get to that in a second. All the way to the Okanagan, which is part of the rainforest. And then it kind of gets cut off. But for doing so, I wanted to go east because a lot of the time we focus north to south. And I wanted to address the eastern side of Whatcom County.
Can you see me making the gang signs with E? No, I'm not very good at gang signs. No. But anyway, let's go east, young man.
Yes. Thank you, old man. So with Mount Baker going east from there, you have what's referred to as the North Cascades, okay? And the North Cascades stretches a lot farther than Whatcom County. Matter of fact, you have to dip into Skagit County to come back up. But there is this really cool loop that is historic, and it's called the Highway 20, or the North Cascades Highway, or, as all the marketing signs will show you, the Cascade Loop.
Well, that's a great marketing tool. Let's call it a Cascade Loop.
Now, obviously, the loop dips into Skagit, so I'm cheating a little bit here, but the two spots that I want to point out east of Mount Baker, when you dip into Skagit and you come back up, is Newhalem to Ross Lake. Now, this area, if you're an aficionado of history, you'll like this area because Seattle City Light. This is where our hydroelectric power comes from. So if you have a kiddo like myself and you want to teach about green energy, what better way than to bring your kid to the dams? Okay.
What a great idea for a field trip for those who homeschool.
Exactly. And you want to be in the great outdoors. Newhalem and Diablo are going to be your first stop on this North Cascades loop. And Newhalem, basically, there's a park up there that is owned by Seattle City Light. And from there, you also are starting into the North Cascades Wilderness. So there's an interpretive center. With COVID, there's quite a line. I will throw that out. But you'll be able to experience both the great outdoors as well as the history of hydroelectricity here in Washington State. There's an experience center owned by Seattle City Light. There's a whole bunch of trails and stuff that talk about the local flora and fauna. The Trail of Cedars, which has a beautiful.
I prefer the fauna personally.
You do like fauna?
I'm a fauna.
You're a fawn.
A fauna fan. Let's not get the explicit tag. Let's keep it clean.
So that's in Newhalem. Now, as you continue between Newhalem and Ross Lake, and in between is Diablo Lake. But the Diablo area, this is what's great about the Pacific Northwest. We have what's called the North Cascades Institute. And the North Cascades Institute is a place where you can sign up for getting experience in the outdoors and getting trained in the outdoors. A lot of universities partner with the North Cascades Institute for a multitude of things. It's not just about trekking. It's also about ecology, environmentalism, etc. But also you can sign up as a family to do like identification of paw prints in the sand and stuff. It's a really cool institute. You can just go there as well. And there's also part of this, which is dovetails into, again, Seattle City Light, which is called Skagit Tours. Diablo has a ferry that you can take, and they take you around Diablo Lake. So again, there's a lot of things up there that are just literally the same time and distance it takes from Bellingham folk to go to Mount Baker. You can do the same thing and go from Bellingham to Diablo. It's about the same time. So again, that gets you on the east side of Mount Baker. Now, at the time of this recording, I will throw out at mile marker 150 on the North Cascades Highway 20.
You're getting specific now.
Yes, I am, because it's important because of what's going on. There are a lot of fires. Everybody's probably heard about the Pacific Northwest. We are under fire, as it were, from Oregon all the way up to our neck of the woods. I was just recently out there at the time of this recording. At 150, it is cut off from mile marker 150 before Ross Lake all the way to Winthrop because of our fires. So just be careful if you are planning on doing the full loop. You cannot at the time of this recording.
So we've covered a great amount of things to do outside of Bellingham in this large landmass that is Whatcom County, but there's one other place that I want to at least make mention of, not just for a place to go and see and experience, but also for events coming up in this month of August.
Yeah.
Now, last episode, we talked about some events coming up in Blaine, some events coming up in Bellingham, Birch Bay, et cetera, et cetera. There's a town north of Bellingham, one of those border towns we talked about last episode, called Linden. And Linden is on the Guide Meridian, which is another state route, I believe, that you just got to blast through Bellingham and a couple roundabouts. Or, pro tip, take the Hannigan Road.
Oh, Hannigan Highway.
Oh, it's so peaceful. It's one of my favorite happy places to go driving. The town of Linden is really tucked in the upper ventricle of Whatcom County. I don't know where I'm going with that, but there's a couple places in Linden that you may want to be aware of. And the first one for families, and I'm specifically targeting those high energy kiddos out there that really love playgrounds. There is a Million Smiles playground park, and oh boy, lots of smiles. This is an extensive playground. You've seen some in some areas where it's kind of like a slide and maybe a couple swings and maybe a little spinny around whatchamacallit. This is the business when it comes to playground.
If I could dovetail into this.
Dovetail away.
If you're used to, say, at the Granary in our Waypoint Park that we've reported on before, there is a park there with a couple of logs and a slide. What Chris is describing is not that. When he says it's the business, think a Playville.
There you go. That can work. And if you go to a small hole in the wall restaurant, think of Costco size. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah,
anyway,
it is.
Million Smiles City Park is Million Smiles Playground Park in Linden is definitely a family-friendly locale destination to go to. Plus, there's a whole lot of trails in Linden.
There is.
Nicely manicured. Hi Linden. As far as where you could go walking around, should you have pets, here's a great way to take your dog. In this case, I'll use that for an example on a long walk. Plenty of miles of such, but also in the month of August, as I mentioned briefly last episode, the Northwest Washington Fair is in full effect now as we're defrosting from COVID in Linden. They are going to be hosting it from August 12th through the 21st. It's usually 9 or 10 days of pure awesomeness where everyone gets to show off their new hairstyles, at least the school-age kiddos, or perhaps any suntans that they might have acquired from the summer family activities. The cool part about the Linden Fair, other than my one thing that I always get.
I know.
Because we've done this for 5 years.
I know.
For those of you who aren't aware, Chris Powell specifically approves of the turkey leg that looks like a Captain Caveman club for my meal that I eat. You're rolling your eyes with me?
Oh, no, 4 out of 5 Viking hoarders agree with this meal.
Yeah, I'm Italian. Anyway, who cares about Vikings? They're in Minnesota. But part of the Linden Fair is the live performances that occur on the grandstand, main stage, whatever have you. Coming up, they usually have a theme night in a lot of them. One is for a rodeo. They'll have the PRCA rodeo coming up. Yeah. And then they'll probably have the wonderful demolition derby for all those who like to break stuff.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
That too, they're going to have a demo derby. They always have a country music artist, and in this case, they're going to be doing Old Dominion, which is obviously a 3-time ACM and CMA Vocal Group of the Year, if you didn't know country music like I know country music. And then they're going to have like a pop artist. This time they got Nelly. They also have an America's Got Talent winner for Darcy Lynn. My lips are sealed, evidently.
You're the music aficionado. I'm just bobbleheading on this one. You got it.
Her lips are sealed in this case, but the one that I always have tuned into for the Linden Northwest Washington Fair is the rock show. And boy, do they have a rock show right now. It's called Rock Fest. Lou Gramm, singer of Foreigner, Asia, Hell's Bells, which now we're going to keep it clean, but Hell's Bells is I've been a fan of this group for quite some time. Back when I had a different hair color. Hell's Bells is an all-female AC/DC tribute band.
Oh, rad!
And the guitarist is, I want to keep it clean and not get the explicit tag. Very accurate to what Angus Young plays. Okay. The singer, they sing pretty high in the AC/DC land.
Oh yeah.
Their singer nails it.
Oh, rad!
I'm a fan. There's also Barracuda, which is a Heart tribute band, which is awesome as well. And Stone in Love, which is a Journey tribute band. Guess what, folks? You got 5 bands coming at you for the rock show at the Linden Fair on August 14th. God help us, it's going to be a wonderful time. I actually might be wanting to check that out in mid-August.
And that is your musical update from your music aficionado from the unofficial music aficionado desk at the Bellingham Podcast.
Oh, good gravy. Stop it. Just stop it. Anyway, Linden is a great town. We just want to give you a couple ideas in the month of August of how you can partake in some of the activities that are going on. In your web browser, DuckDuckGo Northwest Washington Fair, because we don't do Google around here, and you'll get more information about ticket prices and turkey legs and where you can locate them.
Turkey leg. Is there an app for that, Chris?
I'm developing one in process. Let's talk about quality assurance.
Quality assurance. This is my favorite part of every episode, where these picks are picked for you by AJ Barcet and Chris Powell for your quality assurance.
And so instead of coming up with some kind of product, we're going to revisit the secret weapon that we've done for this mini-series. And AJ Barcet, my dear friend and podcast partner in crime, where is one place outside of Bellingham within the county of Whatcom that you enjoy going to?
So if people are listening, they're just like, wow, these guys are bouncing around, but they haven't mentioned Ferndale. Rest assured, we didn't forget about
we have one spot in Ferndale that we'll recommend.
So in Ferndale, there's Hoevander Park, and then there is Tennant Lake, Tennant Lake Fragrance Garden, and Outdoor Interpretive Center, for lack of better terms. And the reason why I want to throw these ones out, of course, they're Captain Get Out approved, but these are big area spaces that you can bring your kiddos. On Hoevander Park side, you've got a little bit of a farm. You just got some chickens and some goats and stuff that the kids can see. And then you have a big play area and grass, and then, oh my gosh, you can just walk around. It is flat. It's for those that are urban hikers among us. It's very Urban Hiker Grand Tour approved, where, you're not going to be doing a lot of elevation. Chris, you've been there as well. Like, this is not mountain goat territory. This is just flat old hiking, or just moseying and just walking around a park. On the other side of it, Tennant Lake, this is where you have this cool little tower that you can go up in and kind of view the area. But down below, you've got a fragrance garden where you see a lot of the fauna that we talked about, flora rather, that we talked about that you enjoy. And these are different indigenous species of plants. These are plants that have an olfactory or tactile experience for you, where you can smell different. For instances, different lavenders, and sages, and all this other stuff. For those that want to get out, but they don't want to do mountain goating, this is the spot for you. And of course, for kids, you just let them run around or explore. There also is a actual playground, not 1,000 Smiles-able, but that's what I'm going to throw out for Ferndale.
And also with Hoevander Park, do keep in mind that they've got a great dog walk area, an off-leash area, in case your dog needs to get out for a while. That's always a place where my beautiful wife take our spirited pup along with. And also, keep your eyes peeled for a bluegrass festival that will occur at Hoevander Park this summer. We didn't do a whole lot of research on that, but it seems like that's going to be one of the events coming up in Ferndale around the Hoevander Park time.
Also, in between Ferndale and the Lummi Nation, there is Star Park. And Star Park is basically like what Chris was just saying about up in Linden.
The Million Smiles Park?
Yeah, this is, again, one of those mega parkplexes where if you want a kid to go and experience a play zone. This is an outdoor play zone, folks. So that's also in that area as well.
That's a definite OMG park. And by OMG, I mean outdoors. My goodness, it's large. So yeah, the Star Park in Ferndale is nearby and something else to see. My weapon of choice, my secret weapon here in Whatcom County. We've been on the mic for a little while, AJ. It's a nice warm day. I'm getting a little hungry. And where does my mind go whenever I get hungry? To food. And in Linden, as we're talking about the Million Smiles Park and the Northwest Washington Fair, there is a restaurant in Linden that serves high-quality sushi.
Ooh.
Now, a traditionally Dutch town may not be necessarily known for its sushi. However, there is on Bender Road a place called Nami Sushi, N-A-M-I Sushi. Helpful hint. Don't think that when you order a roll that you're going to get like 3 or 4 pieces. They arrive in a boat. My wife and I have a healthy sushi appetite. And so normally in other previous instances, we would order 3 rolls of sushi to consume between us. We couldn't finish the 3 rolls that were delivered to us. They are extensive, fabulous, and I don't know what to come up with OMG off the top of my head, but it is definitely worth your time if you are a sushi fan. Go head up to Linden and check out Nami Sushi. And the best part about them is they have chopsticks and not forks, because we need to stick a fork in this episode.
Well, gingerly, that wraps up this edition of the Bellingham podcast. Thank you again so much for wasabiing, listening us, rating us, reviewing us, wherever you like to get your podcast. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you might be listening to us on KMRE 102.3 FM.
They are soy sauce powered and streaming all over the web at kmre.org. I could play that game too.
Okay. Ohio gozaimasu. I'm AJ Barce.
I don't know what he said, but I'm Chris Powell, and thanks again for joining us on the Bellingham podcast.
Oh, dude, I am going to Nami right after this recording.
I'll be right behind you, or I'll race you.
Come railway, and you can actually see.
There are crows back.